Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining me for this free masterclass, which I love to do a few times a year. And today's really, really special, and I hope you join me in celebrating 6 years of our community. I can't believe it's been 6 years since I started showing up and bringing people together. Most importantly, well, I started it for a little bit of a selfish reason because as an artist, I was craving that connection, support, and even though I was so excited to share through writing, through blog posts, and the podcast at the time, I've been doing it for about like 4 years full time when I first launched this, but I knew that this can be quite a lonely journey, but it doesn't have to be this way. So today we're going to talk about creating a joyful and abundant art career and practice. And what I want to say before I start sharing my slides is that joyful and abundant doesn't always mean perfect. And even though we may experience success, we might also have some more challenging seasons in our life. But the intention isn't to have no challenges or no obstacles. It's to learn how to navigate them, to know that your vision is still possible even when you're experiencing a slow season, a setback, or personal challenges, as we all do, right? This human experience is so complicated. So feel free to use the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I love to hear from the community. Let me know where you're from and how you are doing. Great tuning in from Texas, Colorado, from Brooklyn. Welcome, welcome. Arlington, Virginia, Indiana. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my slides so we stay on track, but don't worry, you can still continue chatting with each other. I love when you all interact and connect with one another. So let me go ahead and start sharing my slides. So you are here because you are ready to build a joyful and sustainable and abundant. I called it abundant, but abundant and sustainable are really important. And this is for you, whether or not you are just getting started or you're a few years into your career, maybe even a decade like me. Thank you, Billy Ray. We love having you. So I wanted to create this because I'm going to be completely transparent. My big thing is I always want to be honest and I don't like sugarcoating this life or anything. And I've had a really challenging few years. And this winter was really, really hard for me for just personal reasons. Nothing happened, but we get into our heads. Sometimes our health gets in the way. And I've been kind of figuring things out. And coming out on the other side, I really wanted to reflect on what was working for me, what I wanted to keep doing, and how I can pass it on to you so that we can all keep our eyes focused on what matters and stop getting distracted by things like the algorithm, a temporary setback, slow sales, and so on. These things happen and they will continue to happen because, like I said, imperfect human experience. But this free masterclass is for you. It's a gift from me to you. And it's for you if you're a working artist, part-time artist, building towards full-time, not required though, or you are just building your art career alongside a day job that works for you right now. Maybe you're a creative entrepreneur ready to grow your income. You're all welcome here. You also want to build an art practice you love and you are satisfied with and proud of, and the one that supports your vision in life. And this looks different for everyone, and we're going to talk about that. We're also here because we're ready to do the work. We're not looking for a shortcut. We're looking for something that is uniquely our own, authentic, something that we enjoy showing up and contributing towards. And this includes, obviously, practical strategy, mindset, inner work that builds that sustainable art career. And you're also here because you might need some friends. Let's be honest, doing this alone kind of sucks. I certainly am not doing it alone, so I also want to offer a space for you to feel seen. Now, let's make sure we're a good fit. So if you are here and you're looking for an overnight success, this is not for you. This is years in the making. And, having a long-term vision, it's like running a marathon. You're not going to sprint the whole thing, right? So I enjoy people who understand this. So you're welcome here if you get it. And if not, this probably isn't for you. Also, the importance of mindset work. If you're not into mindset work and inner work, it's hard to maintain success, right? And if you're not ready to invest in yourself. Now, I'm not going to be pushing any sales on you, but investing in yourself also means your time, your energy, your practice, your contributions to the community. And Also, this is not for you if you feel uncomfortable when someone shares an offer at the end. I'll be talking a little bit about my community, but don't worry, we'll also be giving you lots of space for Q&A. So here's what we're covering today. Today, we're going to talk about some of the pillars that I've been journaling and reflecting on of what makes a successful and abundant art career. And these are some pillars we'll be covering. Number one foundation is your practice. There's nothing on earth, if you're an artist, that will work if your practice is struggling in some way. And we'll talk about how to shift into something more joyful and sustainable for you. Having clear, actionable goals. Everyone has a vision, everyone has dreams of some sort, but when we don't put a specific outcome, it's really hard to reach it. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the mindset behind a successful career, and then also showing up and sharing. And I'll give you some micro wins that will help you build momentum. So excited. And there's a little special gift at the end, so stick around. And let's go ahead and dive in. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with me or not. If you want to let me know how you found this masterclass, I would love to hear. And I want to know where you found this. But if you're not familiar with my story, I'll quickly share it. It's not about me today, but I just wanted to give you some context. So I am an artist. I've been doing this since I was a kid, like many of you. However, when I was 12, I moved to the US from Russia with my mom. And as an immigrant, it was quite challenging to get the support required to get an art degree. There was no guaranteed income and, we didn't have any money. So I put all my eggs in my basket and just went for it. And years after I graduated, I painted on the floor. Oh, thank you, Billy. I painted on the floor. So on the left here is a picture of me in like 2012 or 2011, right after I graduated. And I was just painting in our studio apartment. Here's the TV, here's the dining room table. And I would just put some plastic down every day and then take it down. So it wasn't glamorous, but I made it work. And, it did get me places. And so years later, and by the way, writing specific goals works. I wrote at some point that I really want to show in Paris, London, and New York. Those were just like the cities that we all, glamorize. But I did have this vision. So this is a picture of my first show in Paris in 2022, I believe it was, but it happens. And so I wanted to share this because I didn't start with some advantage. I achieved a lot in my world. Not, there's obviously always people further ahead than us, but from zero to no support, no connections. I didn't go to a fancy art school. I went to a state university, and I was able to get these things checked off the list. This is a show at the Painting Center in New York 2 years ago. So this is what I want to share with you, not to brag, but to encourage you that even if you're starting with nothing or you feel like you're just on your own, you don't have any kind of support, it's all possible, and it can be done on your terms that is enjoyable. So my biggest thing in life was to stop waiting to feel ready, to stop waiting for someone to invite me. I certainly did for a few years. I certainly was whining and feeling sorry for myself. I don't recommend staying in that place for too long. But there was a point where I got really frustrated and I thought, I really want this life. I really want to show my work. I want to experience what it's like to sell my work. And eventually I wanted to leave my day job, even though, to be honest, I didn't even think that was possible. So here we are. I'm celebrating 10 years of self-employment next month. I've been so grateful and just honored to build this career, build the community around it later on. And we have the membership, which is turning 6 this month. Speaking of community, that's been a huge part of my growth, just having these amazing artists around me. And my business is a multi-six-figure creative business, including my art, my platform, and membership. So it's all possible, and I wanted to just share an example of that. And if you're someone starting from scratch, and by the way, let me know in the chat, how would you describe where you're at right now? Are you just getting started in your art career? Are you scaling? Are you moving to the next level? Let me know where you're at. How do you feel about where you're at? And like I said, I didn't start with connections. I certainly didn't have a gallery. I graduated from a state school, so we had some amazing professors, but nothing to prepare me for the quote-unquote art world. And I built all of this piece by piece. I started by just showing up to paint as much as I could between day jobs. Then I got an idea for the magazine, and years later, the community. And I made some huge mistakes. I undercharged for my work. I really put all my eggs in the gallery basket, which backfired. I second guessed myself. Even today, that's a struggle that I think we all experience. But through the right mindset, through the right support, and through committing to that vision and setting those micro specific goals, it all works out. It all happens. So that's what I want to work on today. And here is some love from our community. We have an incredible membership called the Create Collective, which I'll share at the end. But I just want to also share examples, not just from me, because it's not a me masterclass. It's about what's possible for all of us, right? So Erin just received a New Jersey grant from the Council of the Arts. Katie has just felt seen and supported as she's making new work. Some of our members maybe have stepped away from their art and came back years later. And some of them were entrepreneurial and started their own platforms and gave that a try. So there's all kinds of success stories within our circle here. I'm going to read your comments here because I want to see where you're all at. And okay, so just starting, not started yet. You're in the right place. I have been selling work on Etsy. Awesome. Joan says, between emerging and mid-career, hobbyist, perfect. You're welcome here too. Trying to move on to the next level, hoping to scale. Many years at this and slowly moving. It is a slow grind sometimes, but it's so worth it. April says about 6 months. Congrats, April. That's amazing. Unsuccessfully for 26 years. Well, there's always another day. There's always another day to try. 8 years in, scaling. Awesome. Thank you all for sharing this. This is so good. Billy Ray is up-leveling her career. Amazing. Yes, Billy, I see you. You're working so hard. I'm an actor and starting after decades. That's perfect. I'm so sorry about your health. It is definitely tough. Started when I was 17, now 32. Beautiful. Had a good career in the U.S. Yes, it's hard to move. I get it. It's hard to move. Sorry, says painting and showing for years, but wanting to become more serious. Yes. You're all in the perfect place. So we're going to talk about all of this, and then I will open up for Q&A as well. So like I said, I think that one thing that's been really helping me recently, and then just kind of came to me as you were all sharing, is just acknowledging where you are and celebrating that, even if you're not where you want to be yet. This has been really helpful because I notice when I go into spirals or depressive seasons, it's usually because I don't feel enough, right? I don't feel like my business has grown enough. I don't feel like I'm showing my art in fancy enough institutions. I don't feel like I'm making enough money from whatever. And when I realize that I'm doing something, right? Even if it is just showing up to the studio and making a mess, like that's more than most people can say. Trying, it's like that meme that's going around. Oh, you failed? Congrats. Most people won't even try. That's literally it. And that's where we can find the gratitude and the power to get up again. So Sandra says, I've been trying to sell my art for 3 years, but I feel invisible. Ooh, that's definitely a big one. But here's what I want to say too, before we jump in. Feeling invisible doesn't mean you are invisible. And we can shift out of that by, once again, acknowledging that even if it's your family that sees you for now, that is evidence that you're not invisible. So just trying to reframe these moments. I get it. All right, let's get into it. And you can keep sharing in the chat. I'll catch up on the chat as I go. So I came up with these pillars. They're not exclusive by any means. There's so much more that goes into it, but I wanted to simplify the pillars of a successful art career because we often focus on the wrong things. I hear artists all the time asking how to go viral on Instagram, how to land a specific gallery, is an art fair worth it, should I sell on Etsy? And the answer to all of that is yes, if it works for you. So that's not the right question to ask. The right question is, what are the success pillars? What are the areas of focus that we must nurture to not burn out, to not get discouraged and throw in the towel, but to truly go at this for the rest of our lives, right? Because that's where I'm at. I don't know, let me know in the chat if you want to do this forever. Until the day that I croak, I hope to be painting like those people that inspire me so much. Like I love accounts on Instagram with older painters. And that's the intention, right? And in that time period, it's that there might be downtimes, there might be slow seasons, there might be setbacks, there might be pivots. We might get bored with what we're doing and we want to reinvent the whole thing. I've certainly been there too. And there might be extraordinary wins to the point where you're going to be pinching yourself. I know this because I've experienced it and my clients have experienced it. So the point is not to get lost in those micro details like Etsy or Instagram, right? Those are just minute tools that we can use and they're great. But let's zoom out a little bit before we zoom back in on your specific goals. So an art practice that you love, clear, actionable, and achievable outcomes that you want to experience, the mindset that's bulletproof, inspire micro action, and then your artist identity and the community to support it, right? So let's start with the beginning and the foundation. These are like the cornerstones. When we're building a big house, we must make sure the foundation's in place. No matter how beautiful or how expensive the top structure is, it's going to collapse if we don't have this down, right? And arguably our mindset and identity is part of this. And we'll talk about identity at the end. But as artists, I just wanted to start here. Here's what I noticed is that when I am putting in the work in the studio, and I don't mean grinding for the sake of grinding. I mean like I'm listening to my heart and I'm hearing something that I want to create. And I go and even if it's scary or something new for me, I go and I try it. And then as I keep showing up, something good comes out of it. Once I strike gold, I naturally want to share it. And that's really how simple it is, right? You make something you're proud of. You can't help that inner child inside of us just can't help but want to share. But we overcomplicate it by saying like, okay, well, what kind of work should I be making that's contemporary or successful? What's going to sell? We dilute that pure creative force. And so my intention for all of us is to journal on this week. Like what would make me love my practice more? It's not more time. It's not necessarily a bigger studio. Are you making what you truly want to make? Are you allowing yourself to play, to make mistakes, to make a mess? And also balancing that with, are you committing to something? Or are you just jumping around and not actually following through a thought that you had, right? So this is really, really important because from that place, once you build that self-trust, and self-trust comes with time, with practice, you will naturally grow your business because you're going to be showing up and you'll have things to offer. You'll have things to sell, to talk about. So this is the foundation. And I know I'm going to be honest, there are times where my career was successful, but I wasn't loving my practice. That happens too. You can have lots of sales, but you're on autopilot or you feel like you're pressured to make a certain type of work. Of course, we all have bills to pay, but make sure you give yourself at least a few minutes to play. This is really important. Next, the next pillar of this is to set clear, actionable goals. It doesn't have to be a huge list, but I hear this a lot. I want to make more sales. Well, you know that your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It has to have a specific number because if I say I want to make more money and I find a penny tomorrow, I made more money. So specifically, do you want to start by, let's say, bringing in 1K from your work or 10K a month from your work or a certain number a year, right? It doesn't have to be a financial goal. It could be I have a day job that supports me, but I really want gallery representation. Or maybe I've worked with a lot of emerging galleries and had a lot of group shows. I'm ready for that solo show and to get, a more supportive partner as a gallery. So clear goals are really important and not really being tied to a specific person or entity, but just a clear outcome that you want to receive. And what this does is this prevents burnout too, because now you know where to focus your energy. Now you can kind of cross-check an invitation or a proposal or something that comes into your realm by saying like, well, this doesn't actually support these goals that I have, right? And you also know when you achieve the goal and you can set another goal. So this is really important. So if you haven't done this in a while, I try to do this every quarter, is to set some goals, set some practical goals. And it could be a baby step. It could be, I want to sell my first painting through my website, or I want to apply to 3 shows, or I want to get into a group exhibition this year. So set some specific goals and let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay, the next thing is the mindset. Mindset is everything. And I know this because I've just told you I had a rough season this winter. I had a really negative mindset and it was holding me back from showing up. And sometimes it's induced by something that happens in our world. Sometimes it's just whatever, it's just random or physiology, or maybe we're not feeling good. But the thing is, we can always dust ourselves off and try again. And there are so many tools to help us with nervous system regulation, with just feeling a little bit more positive. It also has a lot to do with your community once again. So if you're surrounded by negative people who are always complaining about how slow the algorithm is or how bad the art market is, it's going to bring you down and you're going to start to think that way too. It's just natural. And it's nothing wrong with you, but it's just you're going to be impacted by your environment. So be mindful of what you're consuming. If you're consuming too much negative news or listening or like on threads, for example, there's a lot of complaining threads, no shade to anyone, but it's okay to look at it once in a while, but don't live in that. There's always people having success. There's always opportunities, and you have to be kind of the master of your thoughts and not the other way around, because random thoughts will come into our head all day long, right? And the outer work that we put into our art careers combined with the mindset work is where the magic happens. So be wary of your mindset. And of course, nothing will happen if we don't show up. So one thing I notice in my community and even in my career is that sometimes we have these grandiose plans and dreams, and that's beautiful. I'm an ambitious girl. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a manifesting generator. I want to do it all and I want to do it yesterday. But when it comes to working towards a big goal, such as, getting your first gallery or finishing a body of work or becoming self-employed as an artist, it's not about a magic overnight thing like going viral or someone emailing you. It's usually a bunch of micro wins that add up, and there's going to be a few things that happen. The micro wins that happen because of you showing up for yourself are going to build your confidence. They're going to build your confidence. They're also going to beef up your resume, right? They're going to help you build self-trust, and eventually you will connect with the right people. And what is a micro win? Well, it could be anything, and you can have one every day. It could be posting your work and letting people know it's for sale, even if it's just in your stories for now. It could be pitching to a gallery, one email, right? One gallery outreach. It could be offering commissions by posting a post or reel on Instagram. It could be visiting a local gallery and introducing yourself. Like the list goes on and on. These are micro activities that should in some way connect to your specific goals that you set earlier, right? And it's not about doing more. It's about being able to keep showing up every day. This is where burnout gets prevented. So when we just have little micro things, it's like going to the gym, right? You're going to do another rep. You're going to lift a little bit heavier, or you're going to run a little bit further. You're not going to max out and do a whole marathon the first time you do it, right? So that's where the magic is. And finally, having that artist identity and community and accountability. So for those of you who are just beginning, it's practicing saying I'm an artist and really feeling that in your body. Our body is an extension of our brain, obviously, and our emotions are stored here. So really feeling like an artist, what would it feel like? And for those of you who are scaling or hoping for a bigger level, a bigger art career, maybe museum opportunities, higher prices, you have to surround yourself with people who are doing that, right? So maybe visiting a museum, visiting a art fair like Art Basel if you're able to, or something equivalent in your area, and feeling into that energy and seeing yourself. So this week I had a really amazing podcast episode with Daniel Arsham. And one of my perks in my business is my podcast, because I get to talk with high level people and I get to be in their energy. And this has really helped me grow as well. I get to hear how they think, what they do, and how their energy is. Thank you so much for listening, Audrey. And one thing that I saw was the next day, Daniel, once we launched the episode, Daniel was actually on Jimmy Fallon on TV. And I've never seen a visual artist on Jimmy Fallon. I don't know if you guys have. Maybe I missed something, but I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And I imagined myself, like, what would it feel like to be on late night TV talking about a book or your paintings or your sculptures or whatever it is that you do. And I really fell into that. And there's a universal law of oneness, right? So what's possible for one what is possible for all, because we're all connected. And so because Daniel is trailblazing the way for visual artists to be, we don't all have to be celebrities, but he is. Like, he is hanging out with people like Farrell. He's collaborating with like Adidas and all kinds of things, right? And so the fact that I was able to feel that joy and imagine what would it feel like to be on late night TV is actually helping me manifest and think about my work and my contributions differently. So if you have someone who inspires you, an artist, an author, a leader in some way, try to just be happy for them when you see them winning and imagine that you're also getting that opportunity. And this will help reframe that jealousy or that feeling of like, I'm not good enough, and help you just step into the fact that it's possible for people already. You're not inventing anything new. And the artist identity is going to grow, is going to evolve as you achieve certain goals and milestones. You might want to reach further and higher. And who you surround yourself with, even if you don't currently have a community, you can do things like read books, watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts with people who lift you up, who show you what's possible. And this will help you also tune into your own artist identity. And it is important to know that none of us, not me, not anyone, not even Daniel, have figured it out alone. We all have people who cheer for us or pump us up when we're low. And this makes you keep going, and it makes you keep reaching higher. So just to recap, what we're going to focus on this year, feel free to adopt this if it resonates. If it doesn't, feel free to take what is resonating and discard the rest. This is your life and your career, but here's what I'm focusing on personally. You're welcome to join me. Focusing in on that art practice, because the art is something so special and so precious, especially in this world of AI. It is our biggest gift. It's our biggest advantage, unique human-made work, right? So focus on nurturing that so that you're willing and able to keep showing up for the rest of your life. Number one priority, right? Step two is having clear, actionable goals. What do you want? It's really that simple, and it's scary sometimes to admit what we want, but I encourage you to write down some big long-term goals, some vision goals, but then some specifics. Maybe this year you want to sell your first painting over 10,000, or maybe this year you want to get a grant, or you want to go on a retreat. Whatever it is, write it down. Next is monitoring your mindset in a gentle and loving way. So if a thought comes in saying like, who cares? The art market sucks anyway. I'm not even going to bother. Well, that's not going to help you at all. It's not going to help me, and it's not going to help you. Instead, maybe reframing that. Maybe it is a low market, but you can say things like, well, there are still successful people who are making it work, and it's possible for me. I'm capable. And something that I like to say to myself when I'm feeling discouraged or scared is, I'm willing to do what it takes, or I know I'm the type of person who always figures it out. So this will help you find your own little phrases or mindset reframes to help you move forward when things get tough in your mind. Then taking those micro-inspired actions. One of my coaches this year shared a brilliant thing, and it's called Growth Hour. And what you do is you spend an hour a day, if you're able to, if it can be 20 minutes if you don't have an hour, to do something to grow your art career or business if you are a business person or self-employed. And, for my coach, it was more of a financial revenue generating activity, like sending a newsletter or sharing that your work is for sale or offering someone to come work with you. But if you're not looking to generate money from your art, you could do a post, you could record a video of your process, you could do something to move you forward, or pitch applications for shows, for example, right? And then finally, making sure that you're spending time with people who lift you up and build you up, and who understand your goals. And also some people, maybe, even if it's like I said, on a podcast or YouTube, something to show you what's possible. This is really important. So thank you so much for being here today. I want to share a little bit about what our community has, and that's the Create Collective. Like I said, we're celebrating 6 years, and I'm so excited to welcome you into the space. And so we have a lot of resources, but the most important thing is the support that you receive is our monthly calls, our community area, and these beautiful humans who have been doing the work, and all different career levels. Some people are just starting, while others have built over decades of their art practice and career. So we have goal setting sessions. We have perspectives from galleries like Liz Lidget, Paradigm Gallery, sessions with artists like Alonza. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us. Absolutely. We also have, sessions on, like, from Sonia Burrell, what art collectors are looking for and what they're interested in. But like I said, we have so much content on every topic because it's been 6 years. You can Google any topic. The point isn't that. The point is that you have the resources that you can access and watch and listen to, but you're also surrounded by people who can cheer you on, answer your questions, understand the emotional side of things, offer empathy, and that truly has been the most valuable thing from what people have saying. Yes, and thank you for being a part of our community. So you have two options. I know you can do this alone. I don't recommend it, but it's really fine. You will get it. You are a smart, capable human. So You can take what I shared with you today and apply it and start building that roadmap, setting those specific goals, and finding your community. Or if you're ready for that support and you feel connected to what I'm sharing and you vibe with my energy, you're welcome to join our community. And I don't want to say serious artists, I mean like committed artists. They're not always serious. We're silly. We have whimsy. We have monthly guest speakers, a workshop with myself. We also have community circles, and we have social media support. So this is our Create Collective. It's only $39 a month, and you're welcome to join. Most of our members have stayed from the beginning. Some of them came and went. There's no commitment. You can come, or if you're ready to lock in for the year, it's a great value, and you also get a beautiful sweatshirt, which I'll share in a moment. We have hundreds of videos and lessons that you can enjoy, and some of our members have went on to have incredible exhibitions, get grants, raise their prices, and start their own mentorship programs, which is beautiful as well. I'm all for people moving on and sharing their gifts. So this is a sweatshirt for our annual bonus this year. And we also have another bonus. And I'm going to share the link for anyone who's ready to join us here. It's Create Magazine. And we are opening enrollment until the end of the month only. I also have private mentorship as well with a bonus call if you join this week. But the membership is a great place to start if you're looking for support, if you're still learning about the ins and outs of the art world. And yes, the lessons, we have so many good, amazing resources in there. So anyways, it's createmagazine.co/collective. And we also have another bonus. So this is this month only, and it is a $300 priced value. It is a professional artist catalog. So I actually made a book of my paintings when I had my last solo show 2 years ago. And it's a beautiful catalog where you can plug and play with your own images. You can publish it on Ingram Spark on Amazon, or you can print it with the local printer, or just have it digital. So this ends at the end of March. And it's a great bonus. So to join, all you have to do is go to createmagazine.co/collective, and you can email me if you have any questions about coaching, and I'll send you an application form. I'm going to drop the link to the application form here, but let's go ahead and chat. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you got some nuggets of wisdom in here. And that's it. Let me go ahead and share with you my private coaching application form. For those of you who are ready for one-on-one, if you just need that deep private support, I do have a mentorship program, and all the pricing and everything is listed here. And here is a link to our membership for those. Welcome, April. I'm so excited to have you. Celebrating you. Thank you so much. It's so lovely can't wait to get to know you and your beautiful work. I've seen a little bit of your work online, so can't wait to dive deeper. And let's chat. What can I support you with, guys? What is going on in your career? We still have some time to chat. Let me know, how can I support you? What are you currently working on? Where do you feel stuck? What's happening? Use me. Pick my brain. I am here for all of it. Yes, talk about identity. What specific questions do you have about identity, Alexa? Thank you so much for asking that. So our artist identity is who we believe that we are. And some of our identity is like really simple to us. Like we really just lock into it. For example, I'm a dog mom. Like, you cannot convince me that I'm not a dog mom, because I have a Pomeranian who's very needy and dramatic, and I love him to death. And I know that I'm a dog mom, right? But sometimes we have like a little block between. Natalia, did you have a question? Anyways, so let me know. I just see a bunch of question marks. So when it comes to like our big goals and dreams, like I want to be a successful artist, or I want to be seen as, a masterful painter, or I want to be seen as a good public speaker, whatever it is, we might have a block because we haven't practiced enough and we haven't fully accepted that identity yet, right? So some of the ways that we can work on it is, one, practice. Repetition is key. You can use things like positive affirmations, of course, but you have to also feel it. Like, imagine what it would feel like to walk into a gallery and see red dots, or see someone writing a beautiful article about your work or talking about your work, right? And the other thing is self-concept. So self-concept is also how we picture ourselves in our mind, right? Both combined with emotions, visuals. So what would it feel like to have a really strong self-concept of the artist that you want to be? What would they say? How would they show up in person and or online? What would their day look like? How would they approach their practice? And then thinking in reverse, trying to implement and adopting some of those habits. Yeah, let me know specific questions you have about mindset or inner work because, it's very broad topic. So let me try to narrow it in a little bit for you. Ask me anything, just be a little bit more specific because I can go on a tangent and I want to make sure it's helpful for you because there's so many directions we can go with it. Let's see here. I'm working on building a website. Natalia, you got it. The website is the easy part. You got this. It should only take you like a week or two. Marina says, I'm a dot art mandala artist and recently moved to Spain. It has been difficult to create community, but I really want to be a full-time artist. Congratulations. Yes, it is difficult at first, but I'm sure if you start attending gallery openings or workshops or meetups, you're going to find your local community. But remember, online community is really important too, and you can meet lots of people. Yes, mindset and inner work. Absolutely. So mindset and inner work, be a little bit more specific once again, because like I said, it could be hours of me. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of a background. I am a certified master coach. So I am trained in NLP, I'm trained in hypnosis, I'm trained in subconscious reprogramming, and all of it has to do with like releasing negative emotions, releasing limiting beliefs, limiting decisions about ourselves and or the world. And that a lot of that can be applied to our careers as well. Okay, Audrey says, I've been hesitant to share images of my work on Instagram because I worry that the quality of the images are not professional looking. Can you speak of ways of approaching this kind of documentation before you're able? Yes, absolutely, Audrey. Thank you so much for this question. And I'm going to give you a really simple solution. So one thing you can do to enhance the quality of your posts is to take them out in daylight. And even though I have a nice camera and I occasionally hire photographers, what I do is I will take my iPhone, I have an iPhone. I think it's a pretty new one, but this will work on older versions as well, or an Android or whatever it is that you have. I'm sure you have a smartphone, right? Let me know if you don't. And what you do is you find an overcast day or an area without direct sun. So maybe like on your porch, and you lay your artwork flat if it is a two-dimensional artwork, or if it's three-dimensional, maybe you want to get a little backdrop like a white piece of paper or foam core. And then what I'll do is I will take a picture of it like on the ground, and I'll make sure it's flat. And then I usually edit it. I edit it in either the Photos app or Lightroom. And you can get a nice crisp image this way. Most of the images that you see on my feed are from my iPhone. There will be occasional photography, like I have a Sony camera and a Canon camera, but that's like mostly for my website or from printing or submitting to a gallery. So you can get beautiful images on your smartphone, and that should not hold you back from showing up and sharing your beautiful work. So I hope that helps, Audrey. Chelsea says, I'm curious how a professional artist manages both public gallery presentation and commercial representation, as sometimes these works are wildly different from one another, i.e. more experimental, something that can hang on your wall. Absolutely, Chelsea. This is also a great question, and it is so nuanced. It really varies on the artist. And I would say I highly recommend that we have experimental work because, like I said earlier, our studio practice should be joyful, should be playful, but adulting is a thing, and we do have to make work if we want to be professional that is ready for the gallery, for the walls, and or sales, right? So I think it just knowing that you don't have to show everything, you can have just work for yourself. You don't have to post everything you make, you don't have to sell everything you make, and then just carving out time. Okay, so let's say Tuesday I'm going to work on the gallery pieces. Maybe you have a commercial project, like one of my friends got commissioned from Trader Joe's grocery store and she wanted to make a painting for them. They hired her, right? So maybe Thursday you work on the Trader Joe's commission. So just knowing that you don't have to do it all at once, and you certainly don't have to share everything, is going to help you. Let me know if that answers your questions. One of the things is that we don't have to sell or share everything. This might be, Melissa says, this might be a little off topic, but Etsy is flying me out of their head office in Brooklyn next week for Women's Day, and I was wondering if you have any galleries that I should visit. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Congratulations, Melissa. Thank you for sharing that win. Whoa, how so cool. Can you share your Etsy account with us or your website? I'd love to see your work. That's so amazing. Love that. You guys, this is why community is so important. Literally, you are all showing each other what's possible So cool. Yes, Warren's Contemporary is amazing. It's in Brooklyn. I do believe it's by appointment. Thank you for sharing that, April. So you might want to reach out to Victoria or Emma at Warren's Contemporary and see if they can let you in and have a walkthrough. And they might also be busy with the Affordable Art Fair. I'm not sure when that is, but it is a great space. I would say just walk around the Chelsea galleries and see, if you want to look at like more blue chip art world galleries. I'm trying to think of another place in New York City. One of my favorite galleries is The Hole in New York, which is really fun. But there's so much. Absolutely. That is so cool. That's so cool. I'm so proud of you all. Laura says, may I share that many libraries, at least mine, offer professional photography equipment? Yes, that's such a great point, Laura. Thank you for sharing that. That is really cool. I'm not sure if ours does, but either way, you can always, this is what I did when I first graduated. I really wanted some professional headshots. So you could also do this with art photography. My friend who I graduated with a photography degree, I traded with her. I gave her a painting that her mom liked, and she came and took pictures of me and my work. So that could be another thing you can do. And there are also rental spaces. Like we have a podcasting content creation studio called Rec Philly, and I'm sure other places have it where you can rent their camera equipment, a room to record, and that could be something you use to document artwork as well. But thank you for sharing that libraries have that. I did not know that, Laura. Thank you. Mana says, do you have any recommendations for platforms other than Etsy that can help connect us artists directly to consumers? Yes, there are so many. So when I first started, I was using Saatchi Art. Now I think it got bought out a few times by different venture capitalists, but Saatchi is still a place. I would say participating in group shows can be really helpful as well locally, and this will help you step out of online only. Um, Continuing to just like if you apply to juried exhibitions, continuing to post and asking people to join your newsletter. What was that? Art Finder is by application only. And then there's Singular Art. I think it's also by application. So I would just keep applying to different places where you can show yourself. The other thing that in our community, so we have a few times a year an artsy exhibition for members only. So artsy is a big place, but you need a gallery or organization to post your work on there. So you can't do it on your own. Yes. Let's see here. Yeah, that's awesome, April. Yeah, I wish I was in New York. It sounds so fun. Yeah, Affordable Art Fair is this weekend. Billy Ray says, hi, Kat. Membership has been really helpful for me in becoming a full-time artist, but right now I'm trying to up-level with pricing and connecting with collectors, but I need some tips on goal setting. I usually do a plan and goals every year, but have been procrastinating. I had a slow start too. Thank you so much for sharing that, Billy. And you had a lot going on as well. So I just want to acknowledge sometimes life happens. One thing I would say is to get really cozy and feel really comfortable. Sometimes I know I'm just like nervous about goal setting because I'm in my level of comfort right now and I don't want to raise my prices because it's working, but I know I need to. And so I would say make something like a cup of coffee or tea, light a candle, play some music, like get into that dreaming space, even though we're setting more specific goals, if that's what you're asking. I would also just get in a positive frame of mind and like feel that safety in your body. And then the other thing that helps me is once again looking at people who have achieved more success than me. Like even talking with Daniel on the podcast was like, oh wow, like he met Beyonce, he collaborated with Dior, like, and it shrinks my fearful goals that I'm like so afraid to raise my prices by a couple $100s, yet he's out there doing epic things. So sometimes putting it in perspective and zooming out and seeing like this is just the beginning. You are fine. It's safe for you to raise your prices. It's safe for you to go after bigger things can be really, really helpful. You're so welcome, Valerina. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm so excited for you, Melissa. Thank you for sharing that. That's so cool. I'm so proud of you. That is beautiful. Yeah, I'm not sure why I can't open that. You're so welcome. Carol says, I'm exhibiting at Pleiades Gallery in Chelsea. It's a co-op gallery and a great entry-level position to break into the New York City exhibition space. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. It's so nice to meet you, Carol. Oh, your work is beautiful. That's amazing. Yeah, there's so many opportunities out there. You just have to find the right fit for you personally. Let's see here. Questions in the chat. I see the Q&A. I'm stuck on D says, I'm stuck on creating digital prints. What is the software to get the right vibrant print? I have a DSLR. Now, while I am not, disclaimer, I'm not the best at technology specifics, you can get pretty great prints. I would say lighting is important. So inside our community, the Create Collective, we actually have a photographer, Jacqueline Bermudez, do a session that's in the portal and it's already ready for everyone a few years ago of how she documents artwork, including super glossy work, which can be really, really challenging because of the glare. Other than that, I would say if you don't have good studio lighting, professional lighting, taking it outside in daylight can be helpful to get that vibrancy. Then editing it. I use Lightroom to help adjust, obviously to keep it looking like the actual colors of the work, but I'll adjust the light and shadows, the contrast, and even the saturation a little bit. So editing is also just as important as the picture itself. So the software, to answer your question, for me, it's Lightroom and or Photoshop, and just making sure you have really good lighting. Let's see here. Laura says, I'm looking to reach out to local interior designers in Washington, D.C. for potential partnerships. How do you approach designers without ending up immediately in their email trash bin or without coming on too strong if you haven't met them face to face? I have received countless commissions from a single painting I did years ago when it ended up in a designer's nursery design. Oh, congratulations. I lucked out with this one since I didn't work with her directly, but every time she posts, I receive emails for new commissions. I would like to network with some others. I'm nervous about approaching them. Oh, thank you so much for sharing this, Laura, and congrats on your previous commission. That's so cool. I also had a few that were so easy and so fun, and usually they want something that you've already created or a similar version of it. So I think that's a great. To answer Laura's question, so one thing I would say is I would not be nervous because you already have success with this, and I would actually lead with that. I would lead with your story about your success with this nursery design. And cold emailing or cold pitching, it can be hard, but what I usually do when I reach out to someone is I start by complimenting them on their work. I acknowledge something that they've created, an article I read about them, their Instagram, a project they did, something to be more personal before selling your services or your work. And the other tip I have is to leave it open-ended. Just be like, I just wanted to introduce myself. Here are some examples of previous commissions or interior design projects that I've done. If you're interested in chatting, just keep it loose without pressure. So that way they're not intimidated, they have to hire you if they reply. But just say, hey, if you're interested in working together, I would love to buy you a cup of coffee or show you the rest of my portfolio. Or, just say something like that. That way there's no pressure. One thing that sometimes will intimidate, I think, when I receive pitches to things is when there's a lot of pressure to confirm a project or to immediately work together versus it's a relationship at the end of the day. So with any relationship we have, whether it's with a gallery, interior designer, client, you just want to open up the conversation without, them feeling not that you would do that. And that way it's less cringy for you too. And you don't have to be as nervous when it's just introducing yourself, complimenting their work and seeing if you vibe and if you can potentially align and join forces. Hopefully that helps. And what I would do is I would just make a list of potential interior designers you want to reach out to. You can use a Google Doc or Excel sheet or something like that, Google Sheets, and just start chipping away. And then you can mark down if they responded or not and just keep tracking your progress, because this way, and that's one of the micro steps, taking that inspired action, doing the 20 minutes a day of proactive outreach can do a lot of amazing things for you. And one more tip I have is also to share, you keep sharing your project. Even if you already posted on your feed, share it in your stories and say, I love working with interior designers. Here are some projects that I've done in the past, and I really, would love to work with you. Hit me up if you're an interior designer or something like that. Yes. Charles says, thanks for the amazing information. Very helpful. I'm so glad. As a collective member, can we get personalized feedback and any opportunities for portfolio reviews? Now, we do not have portfolio reviews as part of the membership, as a service that we list, but you're always welcome to share with other community members. And you're also always, if you ever need a one-on-one call, you can always book me for a one-on-one session if you're looking for that personalized level of support. But there are people who offer portfolio reviews. And I think Victoria Fry from the Visionary Art Collective, I'm going to go ahead and share her website. I believe she has portfolio reviews. So I'm going to just link her to you. And she's actually one of my former clients, and she's lovely. And she also runs Warren's Contemporary, which was mentioned on this call as well. And yeah, so Victoria and I have worked together for many years, and I do believe that she has that service. I'm glad it was helpful, Laura. And it says, other steps you take for copyright protection and protecting your art from AI usage. Unfortunately, no, there's really nothing you can do about that. I mean, technically, legally speaking, in AI right now, it's such a mess. You know, there's so much, that's like a whole other topic that I'm not qualified to talk about. But what I will say is that legally in the United States, a work of art created by anyone, a piece of music, a novel, a painting, is automatically copyrighted and belongs to the artist. So there are a lot of legal issues with AI, and there's a lot of court cases right now. There's nothing really we can do about it because they just take whatever information is out there. But for my type of work, it's pretty hard to replicate a oil paint. I mean, they can replicate the image, but one of the things about my work is that it isn't perfect, and it's textured, and it's like, you know, it's very human. So like I said, being human and really leaning into your practice is a strength right now, and just make it yours, make it as weird and as unique to you as possible. Absolutely. Oh, Paulina. Oh, I'm so happy to see it's my best friend from when I was little, and still, even though we don't live together. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful thing. Paulina asks, do you think having a theme or continuous subject helps in terms of galleries and sales? I do think it helps. I think it helps to have a portfolio, but you can also have multiple portfolios. I've seen artists who do, one of our community members, Jen, she does ceramics, and then she also does paintings, and she also does lamps, but they all have their own series. So having multiples in each collection can be really helpful if you have multiple bodies of work. I definitely have multiple bodies of work too, even though they're kind of similar, they're a little different. So I do think working in a series, and you know how I think of it now? I think of it as an album, like a music album. It has different songs on it, but they all kind of sound, they have something tying them together. So you don't have to be so strict. It doesn't have to be like only roses or only the sky. It can have more dimension to it. So I hope that's helpful. Yes, you're so welcome, Joan. Let's see. Any other questions? We have just a few minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link to join. Oh, I love you too. Oh, I miss you. I'm going to visit you in London soon. So sweet. Made my day. Thank you for being here. I'm going to link our community for anyone who does need some friends and support. And we have some amazing things happening this spring. We just launched our first artsy exhibition with the collective. And then we also have Samantha Dine Baker coming and talking about developing a daily art practice. She's an amazing illustrator. And Samantha's also going to talk about growing your Substack. So for those of you who are curious about that platform, Samantha is a bestseller on Substack, and that's going to be amazing. Next month, we are talking about growing your social media for artists. And we have Haley from the Art Coaching Club. She's going to be talking about running your art business like a CEO. So that's going to be amazing. And I'm so happy that you enjoy the podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I love connecting with you all, and I love sharing and like pumping each other up because it gets tough. Like I've had such low days even this year, and what keeps me going is like we're not alone. Other people are experiencing success. This too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever. And we have to just take what's ours on this planet. We have to take everything that belongs to us, and it's for us, right? So there is an affirmation that Catherine Zinkina shared a few years ago. If you're into like self-development and manifestation part. Thank you. One more question from Haya. How can I post every day on Instagram? If not every day, I'm not productive. I get it. So one thing that we do talk about, and actually that's our session for April inside the collective, the Create Collective, is social media for artists for this year specifically, and how to keep showing up without burning out or dancing. That was a big topic in our community. People did not want to do dancing reels or TikToks, and I personally not a fan. I'm not a good dancer anyway, so no one wants to see that. But I will tell you, like, there's so many things to share, and you can think about it in content pillars. So you can think about it like sharing an older painting, sharing your process, sharing a meme, sharing you in the studio, sharing something that is inspiring you. Like, the list goes on and on and on. You do not have to produce work for the algorithm. Please don't. That's the surefire way to get burnt out. So make sure that you are being mindful. Remember, not everyone sees what you post. Your posts, they're just posts. They don't mean that that's it. And you also get to share something more than once. You can share it in a different angle. You can share it from a different perspective, but hopefully that is helpful. Alrighty. Well, thank you all for being here. It was a joy. I hope you had fun. I hope you feel a little bit more inspired than you were before you came here. That's my only goal for you. And if you have any questions, I am here, but also see you inside the community. And I'll see a lot of you are also already members, and the new members, can't wait to celebrate you. And yes, thank you all. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and sending you so much success.